If you clicked on this video looking for the key to a stress-free life, I'm going to let you know what that is right now. Hey, how's it going? I'm really glad that you joined me today. If you're looking for the key to a least anxiety, most stress-free life that you could probably want, I'm going to give you my idea of what has worked for me throughout my life, and it is lesson number 3 in Lessons from Dad. This lesson actually has helped me get through life with the least amount of stress and anxiety, and it has served me very well in all my years so far. And it is also a lesson that really came to me from my grandparents. It wasn't from Dad this time. This one is from Grandma and Grandpa and my Grandpa Gene. These folks were absolutely pros at maintaining a stress-free lifestyle as much as they possibly could. And that tip for you today is something that came from World War II, actually. And anybody from that generation, what they call the greatest generation, they have a very unique perspective on life. And that perspective was really solidified during the Great Depression and also during World War II. Back in World War II, the War Council, I can't remember the exact name of it, but the War Council, back during the very beginning of the war, they came up with a slogan, and it was called use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. And that slogan is basically the calling card for a conservative lifestyle. Now, before everybody gets all inflamed and frustrated and whatever, I'm not talking about politics. This has nothing to do with politics whatsoever. I am a Gen Xer myself. I was not around anytime near World War II. I was actually born right at the end of Vietnam. So I did not have that direct experience in my life. But I did learn it from my grandparents. And what exactly does it mean to use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without? Basically, it means that you are going to do everything you can to live conservatively. And what I mean by conservative, I mean not thinking that everything is disposable. My grandparents went through life living a very conservative lifestyle. They did not want for much. They did not need for much. They worked very hard. They worked very long hours, and they wanted to make sure that their future was secure. And that was most important to them, really. So where that really came from was this drive during World War II to conserve resources. They had to conserve their food, conserve their metal, conserve the rubber. They had rubber drives, food drives, anything that they could that could take care of themselves. They minimized that so that they could send all the necessary resources overseas to make sure that Hitler's reign did not continue. The whole idea behind rationing and living a more frugal lifestyle helped them a great deal. They all had victory gardens where they grew their own food. At one point, there was over 40% of the United States' vegetable consumption was from food grown in people's backyards. And if you guys don't have a garden yet, I highly recommend you start one. It is definitely a pleasure to grow your own food. And when you grow enough to be able to give it away, it is a great honor to be able to feed other people with stuff that you grew. So that sort of behavior is what helped our country get through the Great Depression and World War II. But since that time, we've had an increasing belief in like a disposable type lifestyle, where things are easily replaceable. You can run out to the store and get whatever you need. We now have this drive to always have something new. We want to have the best of something. We want to have the newest of something. And that's not always good. Great. You make the purchase, you buy it, you bring it home, and fantastic. You've got this shiny new object, whatever it is. But that joy goes away really quick. And what doesn't go away is that giant hole in your bank account from the money that you spent to purchase it. Now, in some cases, it's something small. Maybe you want to buy a new shirt, a new pair of shoes. Maybe you want to buy a cup of coffee from Starbucks, whatever it might be. It could be a very small hole. But nonetheless, you're spending money on something that is absolutely not a necessity. Now, do I mean that you have to sit there and only spend pennies on what is absolutely necessary to survive? No. That would make for a very boring and humdrum life. But what I am saying is that maybe you don't need a cup of Starbucks every day where you're spending $5, $6, $7 on a cup of coffee. Maybe you don't need the newest iPhone or Samsung the very moment that it comes out, where you're paying top dollar for it just to get one extra feature that the last version didn't have, or two extra features. Do I have a nice phone? Absolutely. Did I get the top of the line phone? Absolutely not. I got a nice phone because I want to make sure it lasts. So I'm not saying to buy the cheapest of the cheap. Don't go out there and buy yourself a $20 flip phone that you buy from the big box store that you throw away at the end of the month. If you can afford it, get yourself a decent phone. But you don't have to buy the best. It's not necessary, because at the end of the day, when you go to bed at night, when you wake up in the morning, you're still the same person. You still have the same people in your life. And the only thing different is the hundreds or thousands of dollars that you spent on the new electronics or the new clothes or the new shoes. And really, at the end of the day, what you have to really consider is, what is the use value of something? If you're going to spend money on it, how much are you going to use it? Are you going to get good use out of it? Or is it something that's going to sit on your shelf and not really get much use? So if you do spend money on it, make sure it's something that you're really going to use. But if it's not something that you're going to use every day and you don't have some great need for it, save your money, Imagine, if you spend $1,000 on a new phone, which is probably cheap for an iPhone. I don't purchase iPhones, but $1,000 is probably cheap. Imagine how many hours you have to work in order to purchase that phone, okay? And I don't mean just dollars per hour that you make, but imagine all the other things that you have to spend money on. So maybe at the end of the month, when all your bills are paid, you have maybe $200 left over. So that means in order to afford your new iPhone, you'd have to work for 5 months in order to pay for that iPhone. Is that really what you want to be spending your money on? I mean, if it is, great. But my advice is, be a little more conservative with what you spend. Use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. Because in the end, none of those things will matter. They won't matter to you, or they won't matter to anyone in your life. What matters is who you had a relationship with, what great things that you've done with your life. And when you sit there on retirement day, are you going to sit there with a giant hole in your pocket in debt? Or are you going to sit there with a retirement that is plentiful enough to get you through your golden years? Again, if you're not a Gen Xer, even millennials are starting to think about retirement at this point, maybe that's not something you're thinking about, but you really should. And you should think about how much money you're saving every month. So use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. So long, everybody.